Okay. It is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day in the land of the living. Absolutely wonderful day. Okay, so um once we go live, of course, once we start live streaming, you should be able to ask your viewers to tune in and watch the live from there. Okay. Okay. So good afternoon, ladies, and welcome to this panel discussion. My name is Michelle Samuel, and I am the founder of SLUDTERA. I am also your host for this afternoon session entitled Alumni Entrepreneur Panel. For those of you who are watching and listening on Facebook, we would like you to join in the discussion with us. Of course, chime in on the comments and let us know where you are watching us from, what island, what part of the world. As you know, we are celebrating a wonderful event and a wonderful time during this entire week. If you have never heard of it, you're going to hear about it today from us. So we are talking about Global Entrepreneurship Week, or GEW as it is commonly known for short. And it is now 16 years that we are celebrating entrepreneurs who are making waves in their various communities, in the society, in their economy, and the country as a whole. You notice every time I said something, it went a step further. That just goes to show you the type of impact an entrepreneur can have. But specifically, those persons who are movers and shakers, who are breaking down barriers and challenging the status quo. We're not talking about rule breakers. There's a big difference. We're not talking about rule breakers. We're talking about persons who redefine what the rules can mean when the paradigm is shifted to think of innovation and to think of how we can do things better in order to improve ourselves and our surroundings and each other. And I want to start off by first, of course, explaining what GEW is. So it is a massive campaign to celebrate and empower entrepreneurs in every country and community around the world, especially those individuals who face structural barriers or who may have never, and I mean never, considered the idea of launching a business. But each November, over 10 million people take part in tens of thousands of activities, competitions, and events that inspire them and inspire others, not to just talk, not to just show, but to act, and provide them with the knowledge, experience, and connections they need to succeed. Now, Global Entrepreneurship Week reaches beyond high-tech startup hubs like Silicon Valley, which almost everyone is familiar with. It envisions one entrepreneurial ecosystem open to all, zero barriers, zero, including smaller cities into emerging economies and underrepresented communities. Whether you are systematically marginalized, whether you're geographically hard to reach, or you're otherwise pushed aside or left out, Global Entrepreneurship Week is the moment where you get to shine, because national campaigns are driven by local event organizers who plan activities tailored to making sure that what we do is put on the map. So if no one knew what you did before, through Global Entrepreneurship Week activities and events, such as this, persons can know. Now, while GEW only takes place 1 week each year, the connections made are just so impactful, so long lasting. I mean, the campaign serves as an opportunity for us to collaborate, engage with each other, get to know what we do, what our struggles are, and how we can even support each other. It's an amazing time to spotlight the people who are doing things and doing it in a big way, but not being heard or not being seen. It is the time to expose what we do, expose what entrepreneurs are doing across the globe on that narrow path, that shaky path, and that rocky path of entrepreneurship where persons are called crazy. This is the time when we can say, this is what crazy can do. And I said that on purpose, right? Because I saw an ad on LinkedIn, the Nike ad, and I was blown away by this ad. And it really inspired me to really think about all of the times I heard the word crazy. When persons say, what are you thinking about? What are you doing? This doesn't make sense to me. You're not going to make any difference. You're not going to make money in this. You're not going to do that. I heard it for years and I was called crazy. I'm still being called crazy. And I am proud of where I am at today because of my crazy. God has taken me this far because of my crazy. And I am celebrating my crazy this week. I don't know, that's the best way I can say it. I'm celebrating my crazy this week and I'm happy. I'm happier than a birthday. But today, specifically today, at this event called Alumni Entrepreneur Panel, the women that I have joining me from various islands across the Caribbean, are from the industries of agriculture and food and beverage. These are very popular industries today in our nations. And these industries rack up millions and millions of dollars in revenue, but yet still it is so challenging to even start or to thrive in these economies. So we are bringing these panel of women together to share their stresses, to share their stories and their journey in starting and scaling their businesses. We have a wonderful young lady, and I call her young because there's nobody that's old in here, right? Nobody is old in here. I have a wonderful young lady here who is joining us from Barbados. I have another wonderful young lady who's joining us from the Bahamas. I have another wonderful lady who's joining us from Jamaica. And I have another wonderful lady who's joining us from right here in St. Lucia. Now, these four women are going to share their challenges and they're going to share their stories. But it's a little different when you hear it from me. It's always best to hear it from the ladies themselves. So, ladies, as I call upon your name, I'm going to ask that you unmute your mic and say a resounding hi and a hello and a happy Wednesday to our viewers and listeners. And then we're going to start our discussion, okay? So let's start with Jordan. Say hi, hello to everyone who's watching and listening.
Hi, hello everyone. Very happy and excited to be here. I want to extend a great thank you to Michelle for inviting me to be on this esteemed panel of these superhero ladies that I'm with here today. And I am very excited to share my journey and my experience. Thank you so much.
There we go. You heard it from her. She's excited to be here. And let's go to Melissa.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Michelle, for organizing this. I am so happy to be here to share with you lovely ladies. And I think it's so important that we meet each other and learn to collaborate because even though we're in different countries, our journeys and our struggles are very similar and we can learn from each other and help each other.
That is very correct. Thank you so very much. And now let's go to Shauna.
Hi, good afternoon to everyone. A happy Global Entrepreneurship Week. I definitely look forward to this over the years. And I just want to welcome all of y'all wonderful ladies. I think that we are resilient, we are dynamic, and we share so many similar experiences. And we can definitely be a source of strength and encouragement to each other.
Thank you so much, Shauna. And last but by no means least, Malia.
Hi everyone, I'm Malia. Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here and let's work together as women. Let's put the Caribbean on the map because we're capable of doing great things. So let's do them together.
And there you have it. You have a hello and a hi from each of these phenomenal women that have joined me this afternoon for our panel discussion. Now, the topic that we're going to be discussing today is very important, especially because if you're looking at what we eat and what we grow and what we buy in order to eat, we have to give credit to the people who provide those things, right? And these women know firsthand what that is all about because each of these women are involved in this particular sector. But more importantly, we're going to be touching on issues that are talked about, but not on the scale that it should be spoken about. And it's going to be expanded to look at how each of the islands are treating this very same topic. We're going to be talking about the similarities that cut across this region. We're going to talk about the differences. What is each woman doing differently for the same challenge or the same issue that she's facing? And also, let's see how we can learn from each other. Are there any best practices that is currently being, implemented that others can share and others can actually see, hey, maybe this can work, even though I've tried everything else, but maybe what she's doing can work for me. And maybe that there's a missing puzzle, this missing piece that you've had, whether it be in your business, whether it be in the next step in your development, that you wonder, how am I going to get there? Or who am I going to get this from? Who's going to help me? And you may just find the answer here today. So those of you who are in the food and beverage industries, those of you who are in the agriculture industry, once you are dealing with food sustainability, once you're in the sustainability field, you should be watching this event. You should be here. And if you know of somebody who is not watching and who should, please encourage them to watch the live right now. Okay? So at this time, I'm going to say a very special thank you to our partners and sponsors. We have been graciously supported by the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, who is the host of GEW St. Lucia. I want to say thank you to them for showing the support for this venture. I also want to say thank you to COESL, Center of Excellence Sustainable Livelihoods, represented by Dr. Marcia Brandon. Thank you so much for your continued support. Every single time we want to host a venture, Dr. Brandon is right there. What a powerhouse woman. She was able to help put all of this together. So without Dr. Brandon, this would not be possible. I also want to say thank you to you ladies for agreeing to be part of this panel discussion, because of course, without you, it would just be me on camera. I don't want to see me on camera, So I want to say thank you so much for joining and for agreeing to share your journey, because it takes a lot to want to share. Not everybody wants to tell their stories, especially when it comes to challenges and difficulties. But thank you so much. It's a very brave thing that you're doing. And I'm hoping that those persons who support you are watching as well. And young persons, we are speaking to you as well. If you're thinking of a career, or if you have a hobby in the agriculture or in the food and beverage industry, you need to listen to this discussion. Something being discussed here may be of benefit to you. So now that we have mentioned our partners and mentioned who is here today, I want to start with our very first question. Now, ladies, of course, it's not going to be too formal. We want a very open discussion, very honest, but we also want you to respond to the questions in a way that is going to benefit our viewers and our listeners. Because remember, we are sharing information, especially if it's a case where we are speaking to persons who are not too familiar with the industries. Try to break down the information in a way that they would understand, okay? Because I know we have some high level ladies here. We don't want to stump people. So let's start our discussion. So first and foremost, and any one of you can start. It really doesn't matter. We can go in any order. But first question, can you, briefly highlight your background in whether it be agriculture or the food industry and share, a key experience that motivated you to enter this field? Any one of you can start.
I'll get the ball rolling, ladies.
Awesome.
Yes, I run a cafe. This is nearly 9 years now in the local hospital, our local hospital in Barbados. We offer sandwiches, we offer soups, salads, desserts, pastries. All of our juices are juice cold press, fruits and vegetables, healthy, but a very delicious, but healthy alternative. And what I would say would be one of the challenges that we've had, especially since COVID, is shortage of food that we are accustomed to having. So during this time, we have had to be very creative with whatever we got, what was there, and made delicious, healthy meals for our customers. But shortage because of COVID and now because of the war, there are a lot of things that we are not getting that we are accustomed to getting. But I said to my team, we just be creative, and that is what we did. And, it's working for us.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Shauna. Now, you went straight into discussing the challenge and what's working, but talk to us about your company. So introduce us to your company and what your company does.
Delicious Streets. I'm the owner of Delicious Streets Franchise Inc. We franchised our company last year. We're a cafe, as I said, located in the local hospital. And we don't close. We open every day. Hospital does not close. Yes. It has been a good journey. Yes, it has been challenging, but I love what I do. Yes, as you said, women can be passionate, but I believe that serving people every day, serving customers who sometimes might not be feeling 100%, but giving them something healthy and making that experience that might not be too beautiful, a better experience.
I love the way you say that. My goodness, it sounds like poetry is flowing out of your mouth. So you have a 24-hour eatery, basically, 24 hours. Okay, well, thank you so much. So any one of you who would like to go next? Introduce your business and your background and what motivated you to get started.
Hi, I'm Melissa Darville and my business is Shiver. And we were Shiver Premium Ice Cream. However, we discovered after we started that sorbet was our best seller. So now we're transitioning into Shiver Caribbean. And let's see, my history, I actually was not in food or agriculture. I was an educator for 18 years. And I got a little bit burnt out because of all of the pressure. I had a special needs school. And so I wanted to do something a little easier and I thought a little bit happier, but running a food business is not that. So I found that out on the go. And so right now we're trying to transition from our location in the Bahamas, and we're trying to actually move to the Eastern Caribbean so we can be closer to the raw materials, to the fruit. That's where we are.
Yeah. So a very unconventional background that is unrelated to where you are right now. Very interesting. And that happens. It happens with some of us. So that's another start to where you're at right now. But we're going to delve a little bit into what you just said in a while, because there's something that you said that triggered a smile from someone else. But I will not come to her yet. I want to let her mull over what she wants to say. She has a really big smile right now because she has a very similar story to yours. So I will let her go after Malia. So Malia, let's hear from you. Tell us about your business, tell us about your background and what motivated you to get started.
Okay, well, initially you said tell us about your our background in agriculture, and my first introduction to agriculture was when I used to live with my grandparents, like 3, 4 years old. We would be on the farm with my grandma and grandpa harvesting bananas and yam. So that's my first introduction to agriculture. I grew up always wanting to help people. I wanted to be a doctor because I just love helping everyone. And upon finishing high school, I didn't want to be a doctor anymore because I didn't like hospitals and I don't know how a doctor can help people without going to a hospital. And so I decided to study civil engineering. And it was fun to study civil engineering. However, when I got in the working world, it was not what I thought it would be. It was a bit hostile, and I didn't have enough human interaction and feel like I was making an impact on the life of others. Aside from this, I shaved my head. I did the whole natural hair journey. No longer have relaxer, went natural, and my hair would not grow. It kept falling off. I kept using different products in my hair, and it wouldn't grow. And so I had to use some of my grandmother traditional methods, castor oil and other oils combined to start making products to sustain my hair. And I was just doing it for fun because I love having healthy hair and I love seeing healthy hair. And it was my mother who sat me down one day and told me that I should start selling it because all her family and friends who had horrible hair, every time they came over, I'm like, oh, here, take some hair oil. Here, take some hair oil. And my mom says, hey, you got a good thing going on. You should start a business. So from there, I studied and did my diploma in organic hair care formulation. And one of the huge issues right now is that Black people have the highest prevalence of hair loss, both men and women, as early as 35 years old. And one of my customers who is in her 50s and was experiencing menopause, she kind of pushed me to it. She was like, your hair oil, it makes my hair thick, but it's not making the bald spots grow. And so she kind of pushed me because I love helping others. And I'm like, well, she really needs help here. And I studied, and it took years for us to finally get the formulation right so that we now have a product to help both men and women who are facing hair loss. And we do use quite a few agricultural products from the region, such as BC or cola nut and aloe vera and onions. So our business is Me Natural, and our goal and our vision is to help Black people to have healthy hair.
Wow, what a story of, what you started. The natural base and the experience and also an unconventional start because this is not what you started in. So I'm seeing a trend here. I'm seeing a real trend. So let's go to our last lady who has not yet introduced her business, and I'm going to allow her to now share her background and also what motivated her to get started. Jordan?
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, wonderful. So, as Michelle said, my name is Jordan Norbert. I am the CEO and founder of Eco Food Training and Certification Agency. My background is in hospitality and tourism management. I have had a maybe over a decade love affair with sustainability and sustainable development. I was introduced to the term sustainability at a sustainable tourism class when I was studying for my first degree, and that was the first time I was hearing that word. And by the end of that course, I knew that that was the path that I wanted to take in helping to transform the hospitality industry and food and beverage industry. But at that time, there wasn't much avenues to go through that path. There wasn't much career options in sustainability at the time. So, and of course, I am Jamaican by birth. I studied in Jamaica and then I migrated to St. Lucia in 2014. When I came to St. Lucia, I went right into teaching. So that's why I was smiling when Melissa said she has 18 years of experience in teaching. Honestly, I didn't expect to love teaching as much because it really was not on my radar. But my husband encouraged me and I applied and I got the job and I stayed in teaching for almost 10 years. However, during that time, even though I love teaching, I felt as if more needed to be done as it pertains to sustainability within the education system. And, you know, as I said, sustainability was still at the back of my head, but I wasn't, because I was in teaching, I wasn't sure how to make the transition. And then when COVID happened, I saw how that really turned the F&B industry, the hotel industry upside down. Like persons, like we didn't know how to navigate, and knowing how these two industries are very critical to Caribbean countries and, you know, the agricultural sector, I realized that there was a need for education and training within sustainable food systems operations. And that's how EcoFood came into being. And of course, during COVID, I started developing training programs on my own, on my laptop, not knowing what to do with it. It was just sitting there. I didn't think about entrepreneurship at the time. It wasn't a path that I considered. And then after having my third child, something just clicked inside of me 6 weeks postpartum after having my son, and I just decided I was going to try it. And yeah, I've been doing that ever since. I officially registered my business last year, September. And I'm basically helping food entrepreneurs boost their profitability in their operations through sustainability. So that's it for me.
Wow, wow, wow. So, ladies, in each of those introductions and those little journeys that you shared, those motivations, I'm sure that you can already see some similarities, which is what we're talking about, and also the differences. Like there's so many places that you all started from, but you realize it all led you into the same industries, and the experiences were different. And sometimes because of these experiences, it will have a different type of impact on how you do things and, you know, the decisions that you make in the business. But there was something that Melissa stated that really caught my attention when she said that they're relocating or they're trying to, you know, go closer to the resources. So that really caught my attention because, of course, in my mind, I would think that the Bahamas has everything, you know. So I would want to understand from your perspective, seeing that, you know, we're not in the Bahamas, can you share or shed some light as to what those resources are like that you need, that you felt the need to relocate in order for your business to thrive? And we're now entering the section where we're talking about access to resources. So this is, you know, the line of questioning that we're going into right now, talking about resources. So can you please share with us, Melissa?
Okay, so the Bahamas is we're a coral reef islands. So we don't have the volcanic soil like St. Lucia has and the other islands have. So farming isn't really one of our major industries. We started now recently, some people doing container farming and everything, but that's just mostly for greens. So we don't have the same type of orchards that you guys have down south. So for me to get fruit in the volume that I need in order to manufacture, I have to get it from the US, from South America. So, and that brings in another issue. I can't even really get it directly from the Eastern Caribbean because we don't really have the logistics to do shipping among the islands. So even within the Bahamas, it was difficult for me to do shipping, getting things frozen, refrigerated, that type of stuff. Because we have like family-owned small boats and a few private boats, but there's it's not set up like in a real commercial way or the ease of shipping for a business person, it's not there. It's really set up like a family type setup. So we need to improve our logistics with our inter islands, and then between the Caribbean. So that's why I'm moving, because we don't have the type of farming that you have down there. Because I went last year to St. Lucia to visit the farm, and the trees were like 3 stories high, and the mango trees, and I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Acres and acres and acres of mango trees mixed up with the soursop and sorrel and all of that. No, we don't have that. So that's why I'm going to the Eastern Caribbean. That's why I want to be there, so I can get access to the fruit.
Ah, I understand. Now, I have 2 questions for you that's kind of segueing not into the next question as yet, but I just want to kind of, break it down a bit, so that persons like myself who's not familiar, with Bahamas and the soil and everything, because when you said that we don't have what you have, that struck me, because when we think of, our livelihoods and how we would want to live our lives, we think of, laying back and relaxing and sunbathing and vacationing. That's what we see in our lives. It's like endless relaxation with nothing to do. And we see ourselves doing that in islands like the Bahamas. And so we envision ourselves retiring to go there. But then when we get there, we're like, okay, so what are we going to eat? So it's almost as if like by you saying that we don't have the type of soil and, farming that we have, it's almost as if like we're saying, okay, so we only thought of things halfway. We have to follow through. So yes, there is the wanting to be in a place that we're comfortable, that we're, happy to be and want to relax and all of that. But we also have to look at how do we get access to food, or what do we have to do to get access to our food. So if it is that we can't readily grow our food, it means that we constantly have to be buying. And if that is the case, it means that we have to look at the cost of living, the price of things. When you go to the supermarkets, can I even afford? And, the work that I'm doing, do I have enough to buy the things that I need at the price that it's set? So all of these topics start to come up when you think about these types of things. And it's really starting to be concerning a bit, can I even afford to eat now? So I really, really love the fact that you shared this point, because it really has me thinking. I'm sure it has others that are viewing as well, thinking likewise. So I want to just bring this question now to Shauna. So Shauna, I know your situation is not as Melissa described, but can you share the challenges that you've encountered in terms of accessing, resources, for your business?
Yes. That has definitely been a challenge. And as she was speaking, I was just shaking my head, because our situation is similar, because right now I'm in Miami. I'm not even in Barbados. So I'm looking at opening locations in Miami, because of similar issues. The cost of business is very, very high. The cost of food, everything that is going on, it is definitely a challenge for businesses like ourselves. So we have to look to find solutions. And for me, I'm franchise, and I'm looking at opening locations in the US, internationally. So that is in the Caribbean. Cost of food is a serious challenge, and they're not coming down. The prices are going up, and it's inflation, and we have to find solutions. So for me, franchising is definitely a solution that can sustain my business. And we know that people love Caribbean food, they love the flavors, and taking your business to another geographical location can be very beneficial. So that's what I'm in the process of looking at doing up here.
Wow. Okay. So another challenge when it comes to, food and access to things, and again, pricing, costs. So let me see if Malia has a very similar situation, or will her, her challenges be a little different? So Malia, can you tell us about your access to resources, or have you found any challenges with accessing the resources that you need for your business?
Yes, I think once you enter into entrepreneurship, you love challenges, right, ladies? So we've had quite a few challenges, and one of them is access to ingredients. So for our formulations of all the ingredients needed, we only have maybe 20 to 25% of them available locally, and we
Wow.
have to import most of them. And some of them, even if they're here locally, the resources required to process it, to be able to incorporate it in the product, we don't have that capacity. So we still have to ship in quite a bit. So how do we do that? We shop around to the other countries across the world to find the most affordable price to bring them in. And in the long run, one of our hope is to be able to put our own farms here and have our own processing facilities so that we can reduce the cost of importation.
Wow. My goodness. So access to ingredients, 25%. That is a very, small portion of your ingredient list. So your imports are going to be so high in terms of, what you have to bring in. And secondly, when you have to clear these items, because even that cost is going up as well, not just the cost on the shelves, the clearing cost, the duties on things is going up as well. So it is okay, this is crazy, right? This is what we should call crazy, not us. This is what we should call crazy. So, so Malia, in your situation with the lack of the capacity now to process, doesn't that really impede your business's output as to how well you can really, function and put your things out there? How are you combating that?
It does, and it affects our cost structure as well. How are we combating it? Well, so far we've been successful in gaining a few grants, and we use that funding to, fund our production. So it's been a challenge, but we've been mitigating it as best as possible.
And thank you for sharing that. But there's one thing that I know about grants, it only lasts for a while.
Yeah.
There has to be something, and Jordan said the word sustainable. There needs
Sustainable.
to be
Yeah.
some sort of sustainability that can keep your business going beyond grant funding. And that was a hard thing that I also had to face. Now, of course, you each are sharing your stories about, your industry and the challenges that you face. But I definitely know that there are persons out there who are in similar positions, and I'm hoping that they are listening to you. And of course, when you share your contact details, a little later, they can maybe reach out to you, connect with you, and see, how you can maybe assist each other. Now, let's look at Jordan. Jordan, when you look at your business, because your business is on the level of trying to make things sustainable and try to set an organized way and a pattern of doing things. So, what were your challenges in trying to ensure that your business actually can go forward?
Okay, thanks for that question, Michelle. So it's very interesting because even though eco food is the thing about eco food is that we don't deal directly with food per se and ingredients like you ladies. We are more into social transformation, right? Because we are a social enterprise. And one of the big challenges I had in the beginning is basically changing the mindset. A lot of businesses still think that being sustainable is a nice thing and not a necessity, right? And businesses need to understand, especially now, the economic climate that we're living in, especially as small island developing states in particular, incorporating sustainability within your operations is fundamental for its survival. So, you know, for Melissa, I really applaud you for taking that big leap, because it shows that you have assessed the needs of your business and you're willing to make that move and make that shift so that your business can be successful. A lot of businesses would not do that. And these are the things that we at EcoFood are trying to drive through. A lot of the hotels, right? They have a lot of food waste. They have a lot of food waste in the hotels, and these are issues that we try to tackle with EcoFood. Food waste issues. We have the issues with food operators not having more sustainable menus and more circular menus, which will help them to cut back on their food waste. We have issues with, as we're speaking right now, with the sourcing of local organic foods, which is what a lot of consumers now are looking for.
Can you hear Jordan? Oh, I think she's frozen. Okay, I
Yeah,
think okay,
I
I think
think it's
Jordan is having
frozen.
some connectivity issues, but hopefully when she gets connected, she may drop off because of that. But when she gets back on, we definitely want to hear her, further explain what it is that she was trying to talk about. But while that's happening, I want to kind of come across to back to you, Melissa, and the fact that Jordan said that she commends you for making such a big leap. Because when you said it, I actually felt fear inside of me that, I was afraid for you and I'm not even you, I don't even know you that well. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm hoping that she knows exactly what she's doing, and then, everything is already put in place, and then there's structure and there's planning, because it really does take a lot before you make that type of a leap. And especially if it's to a new country that you've never really been to, but you're doing it solely for the purpose of accessing the resources that you need for your business, it may be a challenge. And a lot of the reasons that persons don't do things is because of fear. So I see you, Melissa, as a woman that was fearless. That's what I see. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's what I see when I look at you.
When I'm afraid, I take that as a sign that that's something that I need to conquer. So for me, the survival of the brand was more important than anything else, because I'm able to see, okay, like how they have Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is a made-up concept. There's no such thing as Greek yogurt. It was just yogurt that they sweetened, and now they call it Greek yogurt. But a Caribbean sorbet would be an authentic thing. And we could really, a lot of people could benefit from it. Yes, I came up with an idea that is an added value product, but there are farmers who are looking for something to do with their fruit. They have it stored up in the freezer and, they're looking for a product to do. So with me moving there, it could actually create a real like unity, because I need them, they need me, and the Caribbean needs an export product. And the diaspora, they want some soursop and mango and tamarind. So we could make this work. It's like how they say, like the perfect triangle. It's like we have a product, you have the excess fruit, and the Eastern Caribbean has the export to the UE, to Europe and America. So it's just like working together, trying to see what each country has that the other one can, if we collaborate and put it together, we can make something that the entire Caribbean can profit from. It's not just, you know, people get into, oh, it's a Bahamian thing. Yeah, it was Shiver, Bahamas, yes, but it's, mango is not a Bahamian thing. It's a Caribbean thing. You know, tamarind isn't a Bahamian thing. It's a Caribbean thing. And so we could celebrate. This is like, it's also, what do you call it? Tourism, what do you call it, with food tourism, culinary tourism, you know. And what we find is that, well, what I see here, I don't know what's going on in the other islands, but our tourists come here and they get a guava ice cream that's made in America, not by anyone Caribbean. And when we taste it, we know it tastes fake. We know it's from extract. You know, we know it's from extract. So how about have people come to the Caribbean and taste real, authentic, you know, food? Because we could cook. We could cook. We know about taste. You know, and people, you know, people have been using the word Caribbean and benefiting from it when they don't give us anything. You know, they're just using the name and the flavors when we don't really benefit from it, and we're not maximizing that. It's time for us to maximize what our things are, you know? So,
I totally agree.
I
totally agree.
100%, 100%. Yes, Shauna, I think I need you to chime in here.
Yes.
So that you can piggyback on what Melissa was
Because
saying.
I think you need to franchise that concept, my dear. You're talking about exports. You need to franchise that concept, yep, because it will sell, yes, and you will bring foreign exchange back to your island. So yes, because that is a solution, and people love Caribbean flavors. As you said, we in the Caribbean can cook. And I remember when I was being interviewed when last year I had a franchise booth in Miami at the Miami Franchise International Show. And so many people from the diaspora came to my booth and they were so happy. And, you know, everybody was like a breath of fresh air. We don't see people from the Caribbean at these international shows. And everybody said to me that you would do well in this market. You would do well. So yes, what you're doing is great, but you can take it a step further and franchise it, the concept, because people are here looking for flavors. They love the Caribbean taste and flavors. And I keep saying what we have is unique. I keep saying that we have all these other things coming from North America, South America, everywhere else. But what we have is even better. And that we can export that to them as well. So yes, my dear, I think that concept can definitely be franchised. So you can get my information and I can chat with you after.
I love how the conversation is going. Now with you, Malia, in that you are using these, you know, ingredients to create your products. Now, I'm not asking you to give away your secret sauce or your secret ingredients. I'm not telling you, hey, Colonel, you know, share with us. But can you give us an idea as to what type of, you know, items that you use to create your products?
Yeah, we use Busy. Busy is high in caffeine, or some people call it cola nuts. It has in more caffeine than coffee in there. And so it helps to stimulate the hair growth. You know how coffee stimulates you in the morning? That's exactly what we're doing to the hair.
Wakes up the hair follicles.
Exactly.
All right.
And we're blending it with aloe vera and hibiscus. So what happens is when a lot of persons are having hair loss, those bald spots, it's a buildup of the byproduct of testosterone underneath the scalp.
Wow.
So a lot of the ingredients in our serum is a testosterone byproduct or DMT blocker. So it helps to neutralize the testosterone that's built up in the scalp so that your hair can grow.
Wow. You're sharing something with me here that I never knew. And I'm thinking of my mom, because you know this is hitting close to home, because my mom is suffering from hair loss, and of course her method of dealing with it is, you know, wearing wigs, you know, covering it up. you know, or wrapping her head, you know, so that she doesn't, so that she feels, you know, whole when you step out. Because something about us women, we don't feel completely whole without our hair.
That's true. Our
There are
hair is
some people, I mean, there are some people that are perfectly fine with a bald head. And I know women that say they prefer their head bald because they feel freer. They don't have to go to the salon. They don't have to comb it. They don't have to do any of those things. They save money. But for the rest of us that love our you know, queenly crowns, we love our hair, you know, when we start to lose that, we start to feel self-conscious, you know, and we start to look for all kinds of things to fix the problem.
yes.
You know, so, you know, chemically treating and finding all different things to put in it, and you know, the natural things that somebody recommends that we use, and we use all different kinds of things in our hair. But to find out that, you know, there is something that we can use that is a blocker, sort of like an antihistamine for when you have
Correct.
allergies. You know, your product acts like that, and that's amazing. And the fact that you took the time to study that and package it for persons is amazing. Is totally amazing. Now I want to kind of segue into a question that is in line with the challenge, the ingredients that the resources that you mentioned that you have a lack of, but more so looking at your target audience. So let's look at what's happening in the market right now, because again, the market is crazy right now, right? Things are expensive and the prices are going up everywhere for everything. I mean, even things that shouldn't go up, you're wondering, but how would the war cause coconuts to go up? Like, what happened? I don't get it. I mean, even coconut water now is going up. I mean, did the war affect the roots? I don't understand. It makes sense. But you know, all kinds of things are going up that shouldn't go up, but then that is the reality. So let's look at the market. When you look at the market right now and what's happening with pricing, with costing, do you notice a trend or a shift in, you know, your customer base? Are they buying more or are they buying a lot less? Can you share that?
Oh, well, for me personally, when I go to the suppliers, I also know that a lot of my ingredients costs have gone up. And I say, hey, what happened? And they said the war. And yes, and I'm like, oh, how is that
Everybody's the war.
in the war, you know? So gradually we've been sensitizing our customers and gradually increasing the cost because we were not trying to kill them. And so far, we are branded as a premium product, and we're targeting primarily men and women over the age of 35 years old who are middle to high income earners and persons who are passionate and care about the way how they look, their personal image, and they enjoy going to the gym and they love a natural lifestyle. And so they will spend money on themselves to take care of themselves.
Okay, so I like the fact that you added premium because typically when you add words like premium and luxury, it automatically identifies your target market. These are people that are willing to spend. So it's a little easier, you know, to market your product to that type of audience. But then when you look at the majority of us islanders
Right.
who are the low to middle income, how do we benefit or how do we even afford your stuff? You know, how do you make it affordable for us? How do you make it available for us? I say us because I consider myself to be low to middle income. So how do we afford what you have to offer in light of all of what's going on in the market?
Well, one of the things that we're currently working on is perfecting our website and allowing persons to subscribe. So if you're not able to pay, our products are supposed to be able to last you 3 months. So if you're not able to pay for it at once, you're able to pay for it over a monthly basis until you're finished so that you can have the products to grow your hair. And along with that, because of course there are only so many people in the Caribbean that are able to afford our product, our next target is to go into America, Canada, and Europe, where persons there have a better spending power than those of us here in the Caribbean.
I'm hearing a lot of shifting a lot of shifting going on due to the market. So let's hear from you, Melissa. How is the market? Of course, I mean, you shared that, but in terms of what's going on right now, because again, we've heard about the war. I mean, what is not, as a result of the war happening right now? Because everything is the war. How is that market trend affecting you?
Well, I'm actually not even producing at the moment, but my product, even though it was sorbet and it seems to be a high-end product, I had it priced for the low economic group because my target clients were, because it's vegan, it's all natural, it have all the nutrients and vitamins and everything. So I wanted to make sure kids had it. So my target, I was at public schools and private schools, so it could be at the tuck shop, in corner stores. Most of my people who bought it were either children or mothers who would buy it by bulk to keep at home as a healthy snack. So I really wasn't affected when I was in sales up with the price point, because I had it priced low, but it was very important to me. Even though I was advised I could price it high and just get the luxury market, it was important to me because I was a teacher and because just of my personality that children, Bahamian children, were able to experience this, so it would inspire them that they could make something too. So that was important to me, that the main population had access to it, and it was able to be a form of inspiration for other people to start it. Because when I started, it wasn't, it was like a few people making ice cream locally. Now there are a lot, because when we see one of our own doing something, it becomes real. And then other people who were doubting themselves and had an idea now have the courage to do it. And so that was Shiver. But I have other things when you talk about luxury lines. I have, because I'm coming up with some other stuff that are luxury line, and that would be for that market. But that was how Shiver was. And for me, we're talking about the market. My main problem with the market is that the distributors who have been in charge of everything since, since before we got our independence, they have such a hard hold on the market that it is very hard for a small business to edge their way in and get good contracts. So most of my contracts were small corner stores, schools, people I knew personally, doing office deliveries and that type of stuff. Still getting a contract with large places is difficult because you can't compete. It's not like I'm competing really against the distributors, but I'm competing against American brands. I'm competing against the power of Häagen-Dazs. I'm competing against the power of such and such. And I understand, and that's the story I'm telling. Oh, we have our quota to do for this company. So we don't know if we have any shelf space for you because we have this quota for this company. And so that was really my challenge with the market, getting an edge in for a local product, and having people take a chance on it and give it, they love it, they want it for events, but to take a chance and give you a real deal and real contracts.
My goodness. So the small business, the MSMEs, are facing a challenge against these bigger companies, these bigger brands that are not even from, our islands, that we're not even benefiting from because the monies are going right back out there. They're the ones that are monopolizing. And it's sad because it's happening right here as well, in St. Lucia. And I mean, a couple of years ago, we started this slogan called Buy Local, Go Local, Buy Local. And it was catching on for a while, and then it kind of like just died down. Because at the end of the day, people are so accustomed to the brands that they see. And, because again, the Western world it looks like this is what my dream should be. Because I see it on TV, I should have it in my shelf, I should have it in my fridge, even though I can't afford it, but I should have it, just for having its sake. But I believe if it's a case where there is a lot of emphasis placed on local and upcoming businesses and showing support for local and upcoming businesses, that's the foot in the door that you have to make a campaign for that. Yes, I understand that you have your quota, that, you know, you have to stock your shelf because, of course, that's the goods that you have, of course, purchased. But if I can even have just one piece of that aisle, that's it, and I'll be satisfied with that. That's a step in the right direction than just saying, I'm sorry, there's no space at all. So if there could be a campaign for maybe just one shelf for local, you can call it that if you want. You can run with that idea, one shelf for local, you know, just to allocate and say we are supporting just locals for that product or that item alone. I think if you can start a campaign like that, with a hashtag and get things going and wear the merch and then have it to be seen everywhere, it can catch on like wildfire. When you approach it that way, you know, just give us a chance. One shelf for local and let us do our thing. You never know what could happen. You could be the change, Melissa. You could actually be the change. But let's hear from Shauna, in terms of the market and of course what you're doing. Because now you're talking about operating in a different country, but at the same time, things are happening in the US too. They're also being impacted. So how is that any different from what's happening in the Caribbean region?
What I was thinking is that no matter where we go, we all are going to face challenges. But I'll tell you this, during war, you have to eat. During COVID, we had to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll tell you this, no matter what happened, we all have to eat. And people have to spend. What I realized the shift is happening is that people are more health conscious all over. They are focusing on their immune system and they're making sure that they have this. And even although it could be a little cheaper, more expensive, they are paying for it. I'm seeing that. So even although, yes, all these challenges are real, what is happening in the Caribbean, we also in Barbados had the initiative to buy local. And from what I'm seeing, they're really pushing to support local businesses even more now in Barbados. That is what I'm seeing, which is excellent. But I think that COVID has brought home a lot of issues for the Caribbean. And I think that we are shifting our mindset as a people and realizing that we have to support our own and that what we have is not less than what came from another place, that what we have is even better. So yes, the challenges are there, but people, we have to eat. No matter what, we have to eat, and people are still spending. So if you have a premium product and you charge premium, you still will find that niche market that will support you.
And I agree with you. I definitely agree with you. There is always somebody that will buy from you. And that's one thing you cannot avoid doing is eating. You can't avoid it.
Exactly.
Unless you are growing everything that you eat, then you have to eat. You have to buy it.
Exactly.
And you're right, because eating healthy, being more health conscious is now becoming more expensive. Like you literally have to budget to eat healthy now. Because what you would have spent before is not what you're going to spend this week. I can give you an example. I love romaine lettuce. Love. I love the crunch, the sweetness.
Yes.
It's a lot, not, hitting on the other types of lettuce. It's a little bitter for my taste. And I'm not really, liking too much the bitterness. I love romaine lettuce.
Yes.
And when I eat it raw, I feel happy when I eat it. There's something that comes over me when I hear that crunch, and I can literally put money aside to buy the romaine lettuce because I know how it makes me feel when I eat it, compared to if I were to purchase a KFC and then look at all the greasiness and the fattiness. I'm like, and I'm gonna feel a little guilty later, I mean, I'm gonna enjoy the 11 herbs and spices now, but I'm gonna feel and I'm going to see the guilt later on my waist.
Exactly.
But the romaine lettuce really makes me feel good. I feel, refreshed when I eat it. But what it also does, it makes you really analyze how our distributors, our suppliers are viewing the products that we eat, because they're watching us. Remember, as business persons, we are watching our consumers. So they are putting things according to how we consume it. That's all it is, putting ourselves into their place. Because I see a lot of us are knocking the suppliers and knocking, you know, the supermarkets and knocking this, but they're doing this based on the trends that we show them. So we can't be knocking them all the time. Because let's think about it this way. If we were not buying the stuff, it wouldn't be on the shelf.
Exactly.
Think about it that way, guys. It wouldn't be there.
Exactly.
So when you know we're talking, we're complaining about this and that and how they're raising the price, you dude, somebody's buying it. That's why it's there. It's being
Exactly.
done, you know.
Exactly.
So it's either we grow what we want to really eat. We change our diets completely. If we're complaining too much, change the diets, guys. That's the only thing you can do, to change the diets, grow your stuff and eat it and be happy. Yeah, but there is always a market for something. I agree with you definitely. But let's go into another question that has to deal with collaboration. Because one thing I do know in my line of business is collaborating gets you to where you need to go a lot quicker and a lot more efficiently when you collaborate and when you know what you're getting into, as opposed to trying to compete constantly and trying to cut the next person's neck. So have you found any opportunities for collaborating with other, businesses, whether it be men or women, within the same industry as you, into those places that you are now venturing into? Do you have anyone that you have already there waiting to collaborate with, or is it that you're going it alone? So who wants to take that question first?
Okay, I'll go. It's
All
quite
right.
so let me I gotta go back to go forward for my journey. I attended a franchise show in New York. My first show I attended, that gave me the opportunity to meet franchise owners, to meet franchise consultants, and to learn all there is about franchising. After that process, I did some vetting with some franchise consultants, that is people who are specifically trained in franchising your business. So I work with an entire team of franchise international consultants, and they are the ones who are working on my behalf. So I'm learning from them. They're taking me through the process, and they're the ones who have the experience. So that is a collaboration. I'm working with them, and they're the ones who would market and do everything. Obviously with my guidance with what I want to do, but you need people like this. And I think that I want to definitely speak to Caribbean entrepreneurs. When we talk about expanding and when we talk about going global, you need to have a team of people who have done it before. So that is why specifically I sacrificed and I invested in myself as an entrepreneur. And I went to attend an international franchise show. I didn't wait on an organization. I saw what needed to be done. I Googled the show. I found out how much everything costs. And I planned a whole year in advance to attend the show. So we have to invest in ourselves if we want to grow our brand as well. So therefore, this is like over a year I have been working with them. And what we are doing now, we have leads, potential leads, and they would help me close the deals. And that is how I would enter new markets. So collaborating with people who have the experience, because what I found back home, I didn't get that. I was looking for it, but I couldn't get it regionally as well. I found no one to work with me. Now, because of the exposure of going to shows, I have a franchise mentor. I'm in an international franchise group with franchise owners that I can ask questions to. So a support system is needed when we're talking about going global. We need to have people who have the experience, who've been there, that will take us in under their wings and would mentor us. And that is what I have right now. But it was a process and it took me years to get here. So entrepreneurs who are looking to scale, you have to look for international people to work with that can, because just being back home, you're not exposed to that. And the organization that give me grant funding back home, Export Barbados, since they give me grant funding, they open a portfolio in franchising so that other entrepreneurs within Barbados now who wants to franchise, they can go to the organization and that they would have a step-by-step program to help them franchise. And that is what we need. So we have to work with international people to scale and to grow our businesses and to get the exposure out there, because the Caribbean doesn't have enough. We don't have enough numbers to really, when it talk about exponential growth and all of that, we don't have the numbers.
And I want to say something to that. Even when we do research, simple research, if we were to check on the success or the failure of a particular industry or business, our numbers don't come from the region, you know. We don't get regional numbers because we don't have data on regional numbers. We don't. Our numbers are pulled from the US, from Europe, from the UK, from Canada. That's where we pull our numbers, because that's where the growth, that's where the successes, that's where the benchmarks are made. And then we draw reference from that and we try to apply it. But then what we don't realize is if we can't localize it and then generate it from there, what exactly are we measuring this to? What are we measuring? Because it's two different regions. What are we measuring?
Exactly.
And I want to hear from you, Melissa. What do you have to say on that? And then after Melissa, we'll go to Malia.
So I want to say thank you so much for doing that road work so that other people could know how to get it done. Because in 2020, I tried to scale up and massive failure, massive failure. Because from what you're saying, you need a mentor, you need a person who's done it before, and getting advice from people who've only read about it and you only reading about it, you're gonna miss so many things. Like, for instance, I got my factory, I got the equipment in, but did not have enough money to get the training, to get the plant commissioned, did not have enough liquid cash to buy the supplies in the volume that it would take, did not have enough money to be able to get a security, a generator, or solar power for the freezer, because in actuality, if I were to ever turn on the factory and fill up my freezer with the electricity, and you know how it is in the Caribbean, I could lose everything. So I went into the scaling up without knowing these things. And then afterwards, everyone said, oh, well, you should have known that. Oh, you should have known that. Oh, you should have known that. Oh, but I didn't know it. So I must say this year, dropped from heaven, because I was praying. I said, Lord, I just need someone who's done this before. Send me someone who's done this before. I just need to meet someone. And I had put my freezer up for sale. A person came to look at the freezer to buy it. When he walked inside and saw the factory, he said, I think we're going to have a different conversation. He owns a brand, an ice cream brand in Dallas, and he agreed to be my mentor. He does the franchising. That's what he does. He has a factory. He has co-packers. He has franchises. And I'm just like, only God brought him right to not my front door, to my back door, to walk through my backyard. I'm like, but this is what I needed. And that's what I was praying for. I know I needed that, but I didn't know how. I was all on LinkedIn looking up people who work for this company and work for the next company, but without a real personal intro or doing like what you did, go into a franchise show and, you know, putting yourself out there. It's like, how do you actually learn the true way to do this? How do you learn the true way to do this? Other you're just going by theory, and theory has so many gaps.
No.
But that's my story.
You need the funding to cushion the gaps. Those gaps.
You will spend hundreds of thousands of dollars just shooting in midair. You can't afford to shoot and don't miss. When you shoot, you gotta shoot and aim and be strategic and know exactly what you are doing. So I had to do that because I couldn't find anybody in the region. And I saved and I went to franchise shows. And since then, I go to shows every year, every single year. And now I have a community of support within the franchise community. I have support.
So this is what I'm taking from what you're saying, Shauna. Invest in what you want to do, invest in the growth of your business, and you can take yourself there. So, don't keep looking for handouts or looking for
no.
give me. You need to try to invest in yourself.
No, you have
But
to
that
invest in
investment comes with something, guys. It means that you have to work for it. It's not going to just come to you. So, Malia, I want you to share in terms of your experience. Do you have anything similar that you would have went through, or is it completely different? I want you to share.
No, it's similar and different. So back in 2019, 2020, before I was more focused on our hair grow, like I was focusing on it, but not so much. I was more focused on a protein treatment, like a keratin treatment that's organic for persons who like to wear their hair straight, because I often like to wear my hair straight. So it would protect my hair when I flat iron it so that the heat wouldn't damage it. And so I could revert back to my kinky curly hair. And it wasn't going so great. And a lot of persons were at home and they were not fixing up their hair so much anymore during COVID. However, a lot of persons were still concerned about their hair loss. And so I said, okay, let's pause this one because there's more demand for hair growth products from both men and women. And many man, I have story. We would be here talking for the rest of the day. Well, I'll tell you my experience, what happened this year. This year I was a part of several pitch competitions and funding programs, and all of them failed. I didn't win any of them. I was so disappointed. We have a Jamaican version of Shark Tank here. It's called Pitch Deck, Jamaica Pitch Deck, and I made it to round three, and I was so happy. I was like, yes, I made it so far. I'm gonna get the funding to launch the rest of our products, and I didn't make it. And so I was heartbroken. However, a few weeks before that happened, I had been a part of World Intellectual Property training for approximately 3 months, and during this time, they encouraged us in terms of being more familiar with intellectual properties and all that kind of thing. And we networked and got in contact with other entrepreneurs, and it turns out that one of the entrepreneurs that was there, she was very fond of me and my drive, and she called me and she's like, Malia, I'm in charge of a technology innovation center for entrepreneurs. Would you like to join? I'd love to be your mentor. And I was elated, and so far everyone she's sent up for grants, they have been successful. And so now she's helping me to make sure that we have everything right to go forward. But like Shauna said and like Melissa said, you cannot get up and say, oh, I'm going to do this by myself. You have to get mentors. You have to find persons who are ahead of you in the game that will help you to get where you need to get to. And we shouldn't forget those who are behind us to hold their hand and help them. So one of the things that I do, I'm a part of Young Men and Women of Purpose here in my hometown. And we help teenagers, those in high school who would like to venture into entrepreneurship. And, we mentor them and help them to let them know it's possible and you can do it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And Jordan, welcome back. We missed you. Welcome back. We totally missed you. We're gonna go into the next question, and then of course you can join this round of discussion. What we're gonna talk about right now is technology, because there's a lot of digitization going on. There's a lot of automation happening, with various businesses. And not every business has embraced it, and those that have not have started to fail. Now, I want to understand for each of you in your business, in what ways have you embraced technology in your practices, and have you faced any challenges, in adopting those technologies? Who would like to go first?
Go
I'm
ahead.
yeah,
Okay.
I don't use too much technology with my mixing. I prefer my basic batch machine just because what it does to the product. But I use technology for my bookkeeping and for my marketing. So that's basically what I use it for. So I could do my email lists and make all my marketing material and everything myself.
Okay, so what you're saying is that for the equipment that you use, there's no upgraded digital type stuff that's there yet. You know, like how we upgrade phones?
There is, but then my problem is I would have to rely on them too heavily. Yeah.
Understood.
Rely on it too heavily. Yeah.
Okay. So there's a certain aspect of your business that's still traditional, and it's just the actual financial aspects and your marketing that's digitized.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Shauna? What type of technology do you use in your business? You're muted, huh?
Yes, I had to get a loan to implement a POS system across the board for the franchise. And it has helped us in such a tremendous way. Everything is keyed in. The accountant can go in, I can go in, management can go in and see. It has eliminated paper, and I am so happy. I am so happy that we have that, and we can upscale it as we have other locations. It could scale up to 100 locations. And then for our marketing, I use social media for everything. I advertise on social media. So I'm definitely using the technology. I even did a 12-week master course in AI.
Wow.
And I'm using AI now as well. So yeah, I can say that I'm evolving as an entrepreneur. Quite honestly, I am evolving and I'm just loving the technology and learning as I grow.
Wow. And this is the other side of the coin. Eh? To persons who are like me, I don't trust that. Me, no, I'm not ready for
No,
that. She's on the other end. She's
listen. I have a group of female entrepreneurs that we brainstorm and we discuss business, and we started sharing AI, and everything we go on AI. I mean, let me say AI is our best friend now. It's like we all use it, and you know, I learn and just enjoy the experience.
It's amazing that that can actually do that for your business. But let's hear from Jordan. Jordan, I want to hear from you. What type of technology, are you using for your business or that you've adopted for your business? And do you face any challenges in using this technology?
So I'm happy to be back, ladies. So EcoFood offers training and certification, right? So in sustainable food and beverage operations. So we help food entrepreneurs and businesses who want to train their staff in being sustainable in their kitchen operations. Currently, we use our virtual online training platform. So we use Google Classroom a lot. And the thing about the trainings that we want to make it very simple because not everyone is very technologically savvy,
Mhm.
Especially in St. Lucia. I don't know, and a lot of the rural areas of St. Lucia, persons struggle a bit with the technology. So I tend to use platforms that are very simple to use. I use Google Meet. If I really want to record, I use the Zoom, but not all of my students may have Zoom. But yes, I definitely use online learning platforms. EcoFood is also looking to establish our EcoFood online academy. So we're going to be developing courses, online courses for persons to take online. And of course, that will allow EcoFood to expand to a more regional and global market. So yeah.
Okay, excellent, Jordan. And I appreciate the fact that you've taken into consideration your market. Your target market is not as tech savvy as the direction that the majority of persons are going. So you would find that your business needs to be more simple in the terms of its processes to cater to and adapt to your target market. So that's completely understandable. Thank you, Jordan, for sharing. And Malia, what about you? Because of course, you talked about a serum and developing formulas. You sound like a scientist girl. So please, in layman's terms, the technology that you use for your business.
Yes, funny enough, in school, in primary and high school, science was always the highest grade on my report card, and English was always trying to keep up. So for me, like Shauna and Melissa, most of like Melissa, most of our procedures are manual. We do use mixers and stuff, but most of them are not very technologically driven. However, we've been, as I said, working on our website. It's almost ready for launch. And what we've done is to try to get all the moving parts of our website to talk. So, in terms of connecting our customer relation management with our accounts and our social media, and having everything in one place so we don't have to go all over the place trying to get all that information. It does reduce the workload as we are a small team, and it makes things a bit more organized.
Awesome. Now, of course, you each spoke a lot of scaling, and growing and expanding, but each of your strategies were a little different, although similar. So, for example, um, with Shauna, her strategy to grow and to scale was going for franchise workshops and conferences and joining those groups and then connecting. And then, with Melissa, it's getting that person that was willing, to be her mentor and say, this factory that you have and what we can do with it and so on and so forth, and scaling up from there. And every story has this one person that made it possible. Every story. And I want you to look at this person as an illustration. How would you describe that illustration to our listeners and to our viewers as to being the catalyst behind your strategy to scale? What illustration would you give that one individual?
That's a hard question, but I would say what he told me, he was surprised to meet me. He was shocked to find me and to see what was going on with me on the island, and that he was shocked that my talent and my product wasn't recognized. So he thought he found a gem. He's just like, I could do so much. I could really help you, because he said, like, this is his 8th business. He's a serial entrepreneur. That's what he likes to do. So for him, it's like a challenge. He was just like, what I like about you is that you had 0. So
Wow.
he could go up. He said, I could really see, I could really gauge what my skills are and what my ability is by, I'm going to see it as my challenge to try to get you back up. He was just like, I want you to find a way to name a flavor the Phoenix. He said, because that's going to be you. You're going to be the Phoenix. Ashes. And I was just like, And he doesn't know me.
Wow. And imagine how persons can see a gem in you that people that are all around you all along just not seeing it, and you've been in their face the whole time. So what about you, Shauna? Do you think you have an illustration for that person that made a difference in your life?
Yes, I would say the CEO of Export Barbados. When I had a meeting with him, he was like, wow. I sat with the team and they bought into the vision, and they said, Shauna, we will support you. And they have been supporting me since then, because last year when I went to the franchise show, I had a booth. They were the one who sponsored for me to have a booth, which gave me international exposure. And I would say you have to have people that buy into your vision, that believe in you, that can see that you can go further than where you are. So yes.
Awesome. Jordan, let's hear from you and then we'll hear from Malia. What is that one person that you can see that really catalyzed, your vision and your goal to scale?
I wouldn't say it's a person. I would say it's more of an entity.
Okay.
I partnered with the World Chef Association. They're based in France. I partnered with them earlier in February. And prior to that, I was a sustainability culinary trainer under one of their programs for about a year. And I realized that they had an internationally recognized sustainable culinary training program in various parts of the world. They have global training centers in Brazil, in Sweden, in Poland, about 9 in total. But I realized they didn't have any in the Caribbean region. And that's where I said, I'm going to reach out to them. Because at that point I was kind of struggling. I was struggling in gaining visibility for my business. Um, and I said, I'm going to reach out to them. And I did. I presented a proposal to them. And from the first meeting, they loved the idea of how I would take their program and spin it and make it local to the St. Lucian setting. And we had a couple meetings, and then they said, yeah, they're ready to work with me. And right now I'm having my graduation ceremony with my students. I've trained 40 students this year already under that program, and we are the only Caribbean country that is offering that program, and we were officially recognized a few weeks ago. So that was a big push for us. Since partnering with them, we have gained a lot of visibility, and the team at World Chefs has really been behind Eco Food, pushing us along and supporting us. So yes.
So thanks to World Chef Association. Awesome. And Malia.
Yes, so it's very hard for me to say specific thanks to one person. So I'm going to say like my originally my mom and my current mentor is that mothering energy that sees where we're going or where I've been going and what I've been doing and encouraging me to keep going and giving suggestions of things to do to improve our practice.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And I want to kind of round up with our last question. I did have a question when it came to support. Um, and of course, it would have been a very controversial question because we all have variations of ideas of what support is. But the type of support I'm looking at is in terms of um, knowing that we have this business and this individual will source us out to allow us to either be present at an event where persons can purchase from us so that we can sell, or it's a case where they can endorse this and say, come on board and partner with us, or give us a contract to do, a job with them because they know we do what we do. This is the type of support I'm looking at. When it comes to your governments, each of your governments, right, has any of that been given to you in terms of support? Anybody can go.
I'll go. Yes, I can say the government has been helping us along the way, specifically the Development Bank of Jamaica, as they funded my diploma in organic hair care formulation. And every year they have several training sessions like entrepreneurship training, equity training, just a lot of training to get us more familiar with the entrepreneurship world and the business lingo. And they've been really supportive. As I told you earlier, that our website is currently being reconstructed, and that's also a grant from the Development Bank of Jamaica. And they have really been trying to help female entrepreneurs in the country, as for some reason it's a little bit more challenging for us than it is for males. And so they've been actively trying to help us get from, point A to point B.
Thank you so much, Malia. Any one of you else can go next.
Yes, my government has definitely been supporting entrepreneurs. As I shared, I received 2 rounds of grant funding from Export Barbados. But not only that, the government is looking at alternative funding for entrepreneurs from Exim Bank than the traditional banks, because we know as entrepreneurs we have different, when it comes to funding. So yes, they are bringing different players in the market that we can access funding for international markets and stuff like that. So most definitely, our government is definitely supporting us.
Awesome. Thank you. Melissa?
Yes. In 2019, I got assistance from our Small Business Development Center. So I got a grant to help me get freezer trucks to help me with my delivery system. And then there was a big move because entrepreneurs and small businesses weren't able to get loans with commercial banks because we needed 100% of the liquid cash of whatever you're asking. So the government started to do to back the loan for entrepreneurs. And so they've been doing that since then with small businesses. So a government-backed loan through the commercial banks. So
awesome. Awesome. Jordan?
Okay, so in terms of government support, there are a few government entities that have provided access to training and development through workshops, whether it's managing your finances in your business, marketing, anything related to that. Yes, I have received assistance with these forms of training under the SBDC, under the Ministry of Commerce. The government also has a couple of grant funding initiatives that they rolled out recently, which I am currently in the process of applying for, and hopefully I'll be successful in getting some kind of grant funding from them. Yes.
Excellent. And our last question to each of you, and this is sort of a parting, type of question, because of course, again, we're talking to people who may be interested in this industry, in this field, or people who are already there and may feel a bit, they've lost their smoke and they need a bit of fire to light their bones again. Can you give any words of advice, to inspire them, to either keep going or to even consider this as a great industry to go into?
My philosophy is that something you were born with that you love and that is easy for you to do, and it's easier for you to do it than other people are, than it is for other people to do it. That's your God-given talent. You have to tap into that because your right as a child of God, as a human, is to tame the earth and multiply your resources. So look around you, see what resources you have around you that you can use to make something, and understand that entrepreneurship is your birthright. It's your birthright. And it doesn't have to be a product though. It could be a service. It could be something else. But everyone has some gift, something that they do that is easier for them to do than any other person. And so know yourself, get to know yourself, and then develop that, because that could be your transition to wealth.
Thank you. Who'd like to go next?
I'll go. For me, everything is about purpose. And I believe that when you find your purpose, everything becomes clear and everything is in alignment. And everything that you need will come to you. Doors will open. So for me, I would encourage anyone listening to find your purpose on this earth. And that gives you peace, that gives you joy, and that gives you great satisfaction that you are contributing to your society, by extension, your nation and the world when you find your purpose. So tap into your purpose.
Thank you so much, Shauna. Let's hear from you, Malia, and then we'll go to Jordan.
Okay, so I'm going to summarize what Melissa and Shauna said, and I'm going to say, follow your purpose and the money will come. Follow your purpose and the money will come.
I like that one. Very simple and straightforward. Jordan?
Yeah, so I would like to say that as an entrepreneur, you're going to face a lot of challenges, especially when you're just starting out. And as the other lady said, it is your passion and your drive that will keep you in that driver's seat, right? During the days when you're not making money, on the days when you're not being seen, it is your faith and your drive that is going to keep you going, because the challenges are going to come. Trust me, as I experience them all the time. Up to a couple of days ago, I was bawling, I wept, you know, because it's hard. It's really, really hard trying to get out there. But if you stay focused, if you are consistent, and consistency doesn't mean you have to do a lot of big things. You can do just making those small steps every day, right? And being consistent with that, you will be on your way. So that's my last word.
Okay, thank you so much, very much for sharing, Jordan, and thank you to each and every one of you. I would like you to say now how persons can get in contact with you. So, Shauna, let persons know how they can reach you. Malia, same to you. Melissa, same to you. And Jordan, can you please let everybody know how they can reach out to you if they want to get in touch with you?
You can reach me at Delicious Streets Franchise. You can on Facebook, or my number is 246-828-8984, and you can find me there.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Shauna. Melissa, how can people reach you?
I'm on Facebook and Twitter, YouTube, everything, because all the social media, I use it a lot. My email is shiverbahamas@gmail.com. So if you need to reach out to me, just search Shiver Bahamas or Melissa Darville in Google, and you find a contact for me.
Awesome. Malia, how can people reach out to you?
You can find us at natural.love on Facebook or Instagram, or you can reach us on WhatsApp at 876-788-9884.
Awesome. Jordan, how people can reach you? Let them know.
So you can reach me on social media, Facebook, Eco Food Agency. We're located on Facebook, we're on Instagram, and we are on LinkedIn. Eco Food Agency. You can also email me at ecofoodagency@gmail.com, or you can contact me via WhatsApp at 758-732-7179.
Awesome. Thank you so very much for sharing. And I also want to say thank you to each and every one of you for joining the discussion this afternoon. I want to say thank you again to our partners, the St. Lucia Chamber of Commerce, and also to COESL, Center of Excellent Sustainable Livelihoods. Dr. Marcia Brandon, thank you so much for working with me to put this panel together. Thank you, Shauna. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Malia. Thank you, Jordan. It has been a pleasure having you as part of this panel. Now, for those of you who are watching, you can actually watch the replay on our YouTube channel. It will be posted there for you so that you can get a feel of what was being discussed. Of course, the contact information from each of our panelists will be shared so that you can reach out to them and connect with them. As you heard, they are in the biggest income generating industries in our little islands, but they are making it work. The challenges they are facing are not limiting where they are going. This is the theme for GEW. Entrepreneurs thrive here. And we are showing you 4 phenomenal women that are thriving despite the odds, despite the war. They are thriving. Despite the price hikes, they are thriving. They are thriving, and you can thrive too. So thank you so much for joining us. And we do and hope you enjoy the rest of Global Entrepreneurship Week. I know that there are events happening all across the world. If there are any events that you'd like to share that are happening online, please let us know what they are so that we can maybe pop in and, say hello as well. It's a regional, it's a global thing. But again, thank you for joining us, and we bid you a good afternoon. Bye, everyone. Okay.
Bye, ladies.